Hey all, I got some more books here, a new project for a buddy. West Coast Avengers sent me two books that I am eager to open up. I don't know what's in here, but based on his last submission to me of the early editions of ASM, I'm eager to see what's inside. So this is about as far as I got it. Figured I'd do it on camera and kind of get a little reaction slash first impression of what's in here. So let's get into the box. All right. So one thing that I asked Dave to do, and I do to the very few people that send me books, is to maybe make some notes in case there's anything specific that they see. You know, I do my assessment of the comics when I get them. I try to I go through all the pages, I look at the centerfold, I look at the staples, I look at the front and back cover, any kind of weird areas that I think might be odd. For example, on one of the ASMs that Dave sent me before, there were some parts on the front cover where I didn't know if it was color touch or there's something odd going on, but it turned out it was a type of restoration where they had replaced part of the front cover. So anytime somebody sends things, I'm like, two's better than one. So take a look at it. If there's things to look at that you want me to pay particular attention to, certainly note it on here. So here he is. I guess he gave away what's in here. Oh, here we go. Two books. They wrote notes for me. It says ASM 4, warning, chipping on the right side of the cover. Be careful. If you guys have ever seen books like that, it looks like the hanging chad from the election ballots. Little pieces can be hanging off the side, and it's really easy, unfortunately, to lose some of those. And sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes it's just that you're going to be working on the book and you might lose a little piece. Overall, I don't think that means you shouldn't press the book. I think the trade-off and the risk of losing a little chipped edge like that and the benefit you get from pressing outweighs that. So chipping on the side of the cover, nothing major. Just general press. We'll take a look at it. And then we got an ASM 14. So a little tanning on the inside of the back cover. Cover overlaps with the book about 0.1 inches. I think that's that, or 10 centimeters. Let's get this out of the way. and take a look at this. So open it up, nicely packaged. I like how he did this with one book attached to one of the covers. If you guys ship a lot of books, these Gemini mailing inserts are really essential to have. They fit the modern bag and board perfectly. So when you package something up, there's nothing hanging out. The book's not hanging off the outside of that, which would be pointless if you have part of the book hanging outside the cardboard. And when you put them in the box, I mean, these fit so nicely right in here. So I think these work out to be less than a quarter a piece. Like, they're pretty cheap. So go on the Gemini site, get yourself a box of 50, get yourself some of these so you're not hacking USPS boxes into a million bits like your Edward Scissorhands, trying to make shipping boxes for the comic books you're sending off, which, not to be a Dewey Downer, but is actually illegal to use those boxes for anything other than USPS priority shipping. So that's just a little aside. I don't really expect you guys to change your whole origami process just for a couple bucks. All right, so let's take a look, first impressions. All right, we got here ASM 14, this Green Goblin appearance, one of my favorite covers. I know I've talked to you guys about this before. I'm a huge John Romita senior fan, so I like when he took over the run in ASM 39, but these early Ditko covers with Stan Lee are pretty amazing too. I mean, some of it to me, like, you look back in it now, you're like a little weird. Like, I like his modern glider. I don't know what he's riding there. It's, I guess, a rocket. So I guess at the time of writing this, it's pretty consistent with the era, right? You're thinking like Rocket Man, but damn, look at the condition of this book. It's pretty beautiful. It does not look like it's 50 plus years old, right? Let's see, what are the notes he wrote? So a little tanning inside. Okay, yeah. So I do see a little bit of that overlap. Oh, I see more on top. All right. So what that usually means to me is maybe there's loose staples and it kind of shifted a little bit. We'll get that out and take a look. Let's take a look at the other book over here. So here we go, ASM 4. This is, of course, the first appearance of Sandman, and the book looks pretty good too. So I do see some little edges over here. Let's see what else I can see in here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a pretty nice book. So let's do this. I wasn't necessarily planning on doing this, but let's get a couple backing boards out here, and I'll throw on a pair of gloves, and we'll get these out of the bagging boards and take a look. Okay, so here we go. Let's start ASM 14. I also like the use of the painter's tape on the back. You can use Scotch tape on here too. Just make sure you leave yourself a loop and put it diagonally like Dave had it on here, not in parallel with the length of the board. It's just so much easier to tear off when it's diagonal, and you don't get any residue on the bag and stuff. So I'm gonna pull this whole thing out, complete with the backing board that it's currently on, and we'll take a look at it. So even in terms of like presses, like it looks like it's in good shape. I do see a couple little dents in here. There's one right there. I think you can probably see that on camera. One right there. You can see from the top, there's the overhang he was talking about on this edge of the book. And what that causes is you'll see it's like, pushed in a little bit. I mean, think about how it's sitting in the bag and board. Even just being in the bag with the back curled over the top, it's gonna bend like that. All right, let's take a look at the back cover. Back cover looks, here, I'm gonna take it off this. The bottom board dropped out of my hand and kind of gave me a little start, but I'm good. All right, so back cover looks really good. Got a little bit of stacking curl there. The edges aren't completely square on this side, but I don't think that's significant enough to warrant any like spine roll correction. I think the biggest thing, so like what's happened is there's a little bit of stacking curl, a little bit of, yeah, and it shifted the book a little bit this way, which caused the overhang over here. But to fix that, like we would have to basically correct that, and then I would have to press this flat this way. And for a book this age, I don't want to create that much stress on the spine if I don't have to. For basically like what I view as like a minimal increase and maybe the graded. So yeah, just a very little amount of tanning on the edges. Again, that's consistent with a book of this. But look at these pages. The page color on here is incredible. That's definitely a white pages, I think, for this era. Let's see if we can see. Let's see if I can find the centerfold pretty easily. All right, so we got the centerfold right here. Staples look really good. One thing you can also look at is if the staples have been replaced. These don't obviously look like they've been replaced. What that looks like is oftentimes especially if there's rust, you'll see that the staples don't overlap with the indentations in the page. And you can tell like that's obviously not, there was a staple that was previously there for 40 years, created indentations, and then now there's a new staple that doesn't lie in the same like groove that had been created. This is obviously not on this book. And we look on the inside of the front cover. It looks really nice. This front first page is pretty cool. One of the things I also always look at is, before I get crazy with opening the books, is how those staples are. They look pretty good, but I'm still gonna use probably a sheet of copy paper as opposed to 80-pound cardstock under the front cover. But the colors on this book are absolutely freaking beautiful. I mean, white pages. This does not look like it is the age that it is. So definitely a very high grade. I think, I don't know, looking at this, everybody always wants to know what they think the grade is, right? 7+ at least. 7 to a 8, maybe? I don't know. You never really know at this era. It might an extreme would be an 8.5. Sorry guys, excuse me. But definitely over a 7. I mean, I think the break is 6.5. I know what below a 6.5 looks like. I know what a 3.5 to a 6.5 looks like. I can peg those pretty well. When you get into this era with the condition of this book, it's sometimes a little harder to place. Seriously, I would definitely say 7.0 is the minimum, and I would probably put it around a 7.5 to 8.0. Again, if it's your lucky day, you might get it come back like an 8.5 or something like that. I don't know. It could get a little crazier, but I think that's probably, an 8.5 would be the high that I was estimating. I don't think it's necessarily. No. I think the chipping and the edge wear and the curves is too high for a 9. But certainly 7.5, 8.0 is probably a good target for that book. So we can see how well that prediction pans out. All right, let's look at the ASM4. Very old books here. It's almost, I always tell them like I have a good idea, especially with these because I collect the early ASMs. I have a good idea of what value they are. A lot of modern books, I don't know some of the value of them, but I always, when I handle a book, I'm like, I just don't want to know. I don't want to think about the value, how much this book is actually worth when I'm like playing with it basically and touching it. So sometimes, it's like carrying I don't know if you guys ever heard this as a kid, but it's like carrying a cup of water. Like if you have a full cup of water and you're walking with it, you don't want to like stare at the cup and like walk very cautiously. Oftentimes that you end up spilling it. So just like walk normal and walk stable. And so that's the approach I take with the comics is like, I'm going to treat these books like they're all precious. And that way, like I'm not overly whatever, because that's when weird stuff happens. All right. So this right here, I can see some areas for potential improvement. There's something like a roller line or something along the trade dress over here. You got these 2 black lines. Some of that could be mitigated, but again, the colors are beautiful. Those reds are super red. The yellows are really vibrant, really nice color in there. Staples look good. There's this little edge wear that I don't think is on the verge of being a spine split. Again, like in terms of, I'm surprised if this hadn't been pressed before, to be honest. I mean, it looks really flat for what it is. There's definitely some bends around the top, but man, that's a good looking book. Same with the back cover. All right, maybe it hasn't been pressed before. It's stuff like the little the little stacking curl and this little bend might not have been there, but man, it's clean. I mean, even the back looks like physically clean. Like there's not a lot of dirt and grime. This definitely was a bag and board from birth type of book. I don't know, or a file copy or something like that. It's gorgeous. Color pages are gorgeous. Look at that. Yeah, again, this looks beautiful. Yeah, here's the chipping he was talking about. There's a little chip right there. Very minor. That could be the edge of, yeah, I see those chips and then a little bit of like a possible tear right there. So we're going to be very careful with those. Yeah. But now I'm always paranoid too, checking the back for any color touch. So with these red books, like red color touch is really common. So you can, first thing you look for is bleed through. You look for any bleed through on the back of the front and back cover. I don't see any bleed through. The last page had, the last book we had some leaf casting. I think that was done where like, the paper, liquid paper was added back to the page. I don't see anything that looks funny like that here. This looks like a solid, unrestored copy, untrimmed. Those sides look like they have the wear that a book this age should have. Let's see if I can, sometimes it's hard to pinpoint the centerfold. There it is. So here's the centerfold. Looks great. Staples look great. Not loose, not replaced. It's funny. You can see the crease that's in the same part of the other part. Maybe that interior page when they were printing it from the Mickey Mouse balloon has a weird crease in it. So it was the same way in the ASM14. But another beautiful book that will be relatively straightforward, I think, to clean and press. Probably just make a quick video on that process, get them in the press and get these turned around so we can get some grades. and see how they look. But man, they are beautiful. So I always prep them up, just stack them very gently like that. I'll put them off to the side, and we'll get ready to clean those. Also, if you guys wear gloves a lot, I used to work in the healthcare setting. I have a lab right now, and I don't know why I thought this would be pertinent to the video, but if you want to see the cool way where you put on gloves and you don't end up soiling or contaminating your hands, what you do is you pinch the fold right here with the wrist, you lift up, and then you pull that off and turn the glove inside out. So nothing that was on the outside of the glove comes on the inside. Now what I do is I ball this up into my hand, and then I can grab the inside of the glove and push it over that. Ta-da! And now I got this little self-contained trash of the gloves itself where nothing touches the outside. Granted, we're doing comic books, we're not talking biomedical waste here, but if you want to look pretty cool donning and doffing your gloves, that's the proper way to do it. So we'll get started on these books and look forward to see how they grade out. Man, they are gorgeous. All right, guys, so we are back. We just got the 2 books out of the press, and we're going to take the first looks at them. I didn't record the initial cleaning of them, but you can refer to some of the other videos for that process. As you saw, the books were in really great condition initially. So I just did some very light cleaning on both of the books, and then they were into the press with humidity. So they got 3 treatments, front and back cover, with changing the interior sheets each time, and now is okay to pull them out, and we can take a look at them so we can get an idea. We pick up I'll take some pictures as well, but let me get this picked up. Oh, I cut the other book right under it. Okay, so here's the first book, really gorgeous, flattened out, no crips or crinkles or whatever to the page. It's looking really good. This one, if you remember, it had some, was that one right? Yeah, this one had some lines that were going across those cleaned up pretty nice. Got the roller marks away, and we're able to really get this one really cleaned up. I'm gonna flip that over and take some pictures of it later once I get it all sorted out. And then we can take a look at this one. Again, ASM4, first Sandman appearance. Again, looks really flat. That's why I did that kind of extra runs through there. Want to make sure that we got all the possible dings, dents, and everything removed. It's looking really good. Was able to make sure I didn't get any of the chipping, worsened or lose any pieces on the corner. But I'm going to get this flipped over and take some pictures as well. We will see how they fare, send them off to CGC this week, and see how they fare in the grades. So we can go back and see what I speculated on them, but they both are very high grades. They're beautiful books, and I wish the best to the CGC gods and their processing of them. So we'll see how they turn out.